Is there a white flag fluttering in the summer breeze above Downing Street? In a first sign of defeat in the Channel, Rishi Sunak has admitted that his plan to stop the boats may not succeed before the next election. The Prime Minister says he wants to be honest with us and that stemming the migrant crossings is a complex problem. He claims there isn't one simple solution and the issue can't be solved overnight, adding he wouldn't be being straight with people if he said that was possible. His apparent surrender over the key pledge comes amid warnings that Britain faces a permanent migrant backlog costing taxpayers up to £5 billion a year in hotels. More than 130 asylum seekers await processing, with small boat arrivals this year exceeding 18,000 after several vessels arrived yesterday. The much-heralded policy of flying migrants to Rwanda for processing is on hold, awaiting a court ruling on whether it's legal. Meanwhile, the floating fiasco that is the Bibi Stockholm barge remains empty after health inspectors discovered Legionella bacteria in the showers. I mean, it was difficult to say all that without smirking and giggling because it's also, I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's also bleeding obvious that this was going to happen. Any idiot could have told him that when he said, I pledge that by the election, I'll have sorted the boats. We're all just like standing behind him going, no, you won't. Right. And now we're all saying, we told you so.
But why has he suddenly got an attack of honesty? Because it was just as untrue.
Because the election's nearer now.
When he said it then, when he was going to stop the boats. And in fact, I think he said he would judge him before the end of the year, not even the election.
Oh.
Yeah,
judge him before the end of the year. I mean, you might as well say, I tell you what, I've got a new plan. I'm going to move Britain slightly further to the left. I think I'm going to move it probably about 10 miles away from France, and then that'll make it more difficult for them to make the crossing. The whole thing is a joke now. As you see, you go run through the card of the Bibi Stockholm and the Rwanda plan, and, meanwhile, more and more people are coming. A record 800 people came, I think, day before yesterday. It's just ridiculous. I mean, they could stop it. They just don't want to.
The thing is, to put it into perspective, since 2018, the number of people that have actually come on these small boats is the population of Solihull. Yeah. So about 100,000 people. So it's really, I mean, it's adding up. I said from the beginning, the stop the boats was going to, bite him back in the bum because you can't stop the boats. It's a more complex issue. And I think number 10 Downing Street has a really acute problem of just terrible communication. They suffered with it under Liz Truss, and clearly, I mean, I still think the same comms team is in charge of these sorts of things, because you have to explain to the public why it's complex, what we're being bound by, why all these plans are going to be tied up in the courts, what treaties we're bound to, how difficult it is to get cooperation from the French, why the EU are not cooperating. You have to be able to communicate this, because then at least the public knows that you're not, trying to pull their legs on this.
And we all knew that they were just pulling the wool over our eyes. No matter whether you're a lily-livered liberal or, or you're somebody who spends all day, every day, worrying about immigrants and boats. We are all united in knowing that the plans that are being put forward aren't going to work.
It was never going to. There was a number of reasons it wasn't going to work. There is, of course, the French component to all of this, but I think that could have been solved. Primarily, it is not in Rishi Sunak's DNA to want to sort this. He's that part of the Conservative Party that their heart just isn't really in it. They don't believe it. Cameron would have been in exactly the same position.
But Rishi Sunak is far to the right of Cameron.
Well, he is, but I don't know how far,
nominally.
in some respects. Him and Macron...
I don't think he knows how to do it.
Him and Macron are good mates, and they seem to get along, and Macron sees him as an ally where he didn't see other leaders as an ally. I don't think it's in this government's DNA to really want to sort it. If you really wanted to sort it, there are ways of doing it. It's a bit more brutal. It would require a different kind of agreement with the French.
I mean,
correct.
Could I use the words of John F. Kennedy, if you don't mind?
Which one?
He said, we do not do this because it is easy. We do it because it is difficult. You don't want a Prime Minister who goes, oh, we'll just give up. We can't do it. It's too hard. It's too hard. Well, no. Find a solution. And the solution is to stop them leaving, not to stop them arriving. But stop them leaving, and then they won't come.
Where I haven't heard a solution yet that I'm convinced would work.
Stopping them leaving would
because
work.
You need
sticking a knife in every single dinghy
multiple approaches.
would work.
That's why there's no one solution.
I think but there's not one solution. But I think if he had more balls, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, whatever. If he had more balls, Sunak, he'd be going to Europe and saying to Macron, and he'd be going to Libya and saying, if you let these people come in their dinghies, we're going to put sanctions on you from now on. You can't. The problem is people coming from France and from Libya. You need to stop them there. Let them come to the UK and then put them in hotels.
Well, I mean,
you're just going to keep on paying for hotels.
Yeah, they're going to keep coming.
Even on the Rwanda policy scheme, it was ludicrous from the beginning because we have territories that we could send them to that we wouldn't have to be dependent on the Rwandan government guaranteeing their safety, for example. Why didn't we do that? Why didn't we send them to, like, I don't know, Ascension Island or something that we have control over? It doesn't even make sense.
But then we still have to be paying for infrastructure on those
Yeah,
islands.
but the thing is,
Also,
we get to
Ascension
live with that
Island
because
isn't
if we're paying the
an option.
Rwandan government,
Ascension Island is not
you know,
an
they're
option
going to
either.
choose how to build, you know, the cost of building their accommodation and all the sort of luxuries that come with them staying
but you
there.
see,
We
you're
get
all
to
getting it
decide
wrong.
that.
No, you're all getting it wrong. It's not about what we do with them when they get here. It's about stopping them from coming.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the
that-
key.
I mean,
and
we're
that is
only
the only
accepting
thing.
about half of them at
and
the
that is the only thing that will work. And so you have to stop them, one, wanting to come, and two, actually physically leaving where they
But
are.
isn't one of the major pieces of that jigsaw to get the processing of them done
No.
much quicker, so that they
No.
so that they
No.
fail,
It's about the
so that they
processing.
fail the
It's about
applications
refusing
and
more
get
of them.
sorted?
What do you think they'll do if they go to a processing centre in Calais and they say, sorry, mate, you can't come in, you don't fit the criteria? What do you think they'll do then?
But the thing is,
But you can,
They'll
if
get
the
on dinghy.
processing
They'll
jump in a boat.
centres-
Yeah.
If the processing centres were there and were
No.
stopping people getting on boats,
They
that
wouldn't,
is how
though.
you
it's
would
not,
stop
it's
them.
not
they
just
wouldn't.
about the processing centres, which I agree. But the difference, I mean, the EU on first application accepts 37% of asylum seekers. The UK accepts 77%. So clearly, they're better off hedging their bets here. We need to refuse more of them.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. But one of the reasons that they're all disappearing is that the processing takes years and years.
And we can't
If
track
the
them.
Exactly. But if the processing was quick and they were kept in processing centre, if you fail your
Yeah, but then-
application,
Yeah, but then you're
you
left with a load
can't
of people.
come
who-
over.
No, but then you're left with a load of people who have failed the processing.
And you don't
Many
know
of
where
them
to
have
send them back
already
to.
gone through that process, and
Yeah.
that's why they're coming illegally. That wouldn't stop them coming illegally because they would still then, if they got here, be welcomed. So they've got
Because
to
they're
stop
looking at there's
welcoming.
170,000 people
Otherwise,
on the
I don't blame them for
in the
coming.
backlog, and
That's-
they're going,
I
you know,
agree.
well,
Yeah.
this is worth a punt.
No, I
Why
agree,
would I not
which
do
is
it?
one of the major arguments for
Correct.
saying process quicker, because then you won't
Yeah,
have
but it's a bad
170,000
argument.
people disappearing into the ether.
Bad arguments.
It's a bad argument because it won't work. I mean, that's the lefties all saying, oh, yeah, put the processing centres in France. That's what Starmer wants to do. It won't work.